The lights inside the America's Got Talent theater were bright, almost blinding, as the audience buzzed with curiosity. Contestants from all over the world had already performed that day, some incredible, some forgettable, and a few controversial. By the time the host announced the next performer, many people in the crowd leaned back in their seats, expecting just another hopeful dreamer. But then a small figure walked onto the massive stage, and something immediately felt different. He couldn't have been older than 12. His shoulders were narrow, his jeans slightly too big, held up by a fraying belt. His shoes were worn thin, the soles nearly smooth, and his shirt, though clean, showed signs of many washes. Stitched carefully on the left side of his chest was a tiny Philippine flag. He smiled shyly at the crowd, clutching the microphone with both hands as if it were the most precious thing he owned. Simon Cowell glanced down at his notes, then up at the boy, curiosity flickering across his face. Sofia Vergara leaned forward, already smiling. Howie Mandel tilted his head, sensing something unusual. The host knelt beside the boy and asked his name. He answered softly, his accent gentle but clear. He said he came from a small coastal town in the Philippines, a place most Americans had never heard of, where electricity sometimes disappeared for days and music came not from fancy speakers but from radios powered by borrowed batteries. When asked why he came to America's Got Talent, the boy hesitated. His eyes scanned the audience, thousands of strangers staring back at him, and then he took a deep breath. He said he came to sing for his parents, who worked long hours so he could go to school, and for his country, which taught him to stand tall even when you have nothing else. The crowd responded with polite applause, but it was the next question that changed everything. Simon leaned toward the microphone and asked what song he would be performing. The boy straightened his posture, his small chest rising with pride. He said he would sing Lupang Hinirang, the national anthem of the Philippines. A murmur rippled through the audience. Some looked confused, others whispered, unsure if they heard correctly. Singing a national anthem on a talent show, especially one not from the United States, was unexpected, risky, and bold. Simon's eyebrows lifted slightly. He asked if the boy was sure. The boy nodded. He said the song wasn't just music to him, it was his home, his history, and his hope. The judges exchanged glances. There was no flashy setup, no dramatic build-up music. Just a child standing alone on one of the biggest stages in the world. As the first note left his lips, the room changed. His voice was clear, steady, and hauntingly pure. It carried a weight far beyond his age. Each word, sung in Filipino, flowed with emotion that didn't need translation. Even those who didn't understand the language felt it. There was longing in his voice, pride in his tone, and a quiet strength that sent chills through the theater. The audience grew completely silent. Phones that had been raised slowly lowered. People leaned forward, drawn in by something raw and honest. The camera cut to Simon Cowell, who sat unusually still, his expression unreadable but intense. He wasn't judging technique. He wasn't thinking about pitch or control. He was listening. Halfway through the song, something unexpected happened. The boy's voice trembled for just a moment. His eyes filled with tears, and for a second, it seemed like he might stop. The audience held its breath. Then he closed his eyes, took a breath, and continued singing with even more power than before. That moment of vulnerability made the performance unforgettable. Later, viewers would learn why. Just days before flying to America, the boy's family had faced a devastating setback. A powerful storm had flooded their neighborhood, destroying much of their home. His father had insisted he still go, telling him that sometimes hope has to travel farther than fear. The boy carried that weight onto the stage, singing not just for himself, but for everyone back home who believed in him. As the final note echoed through the theater, there was a pause. A long, heavy pause where no one moved. Then, slowly, the audience rose to their feet. Applause thundered through the room, growing louder and louder until it became a standing ovation. Some people wiped tears from their eyes. Others placed their hands over their hearts. The camera cut to Simon Cowell, and for the first time that night, he looked emotional. His eyes glistened. He cleared his throat, trying to regain composure. When the applause finally died down, Simon leaned forward, his voice quieter than usual. He said he had heard thousands of singers over his career, but that performance reminded him why music mattered in the first place. He said he didn't understand every word, but he understood the feeling, and that was enough. Sofia stood up and said the boy had brought his entire country onto that stage. Howie admitted he hadn't expected to be moved so deeply by a song he'd never heard before. The fourth judge said the performance wasn't about competition, it was about connection. Then came the twist no one expected. Simon paused, looked at the boy again, and asked him a question that made the room quiet once more. He asked if the boy knew what Lupang Hinirang meant in English. The boy nodded and softly explained that it meant chosen land. Simon repeated the words slowly, then smiled through tears and said that tonight, that chosen land had chosen all of them. The audience erupted again. As the judges cast their votes, it was unanimous. 4 yeses. But before the boy could even process what was happening, Simon stopped him. He said there were moments on this show that deserved more than a yes. Moments that reminded people in America that greatness can come from anywhere, even from a small town across the ocean. Simon reached for the golden buzzer. Time seemed to freeze as he pressed it. Gold confetti exploded into the air, raining down over the stunned child. The boy looked up, eyes wide, mouth trembling, completely overwhelmed. He dropped to his knees, covering his face as tears streamed down. The judges rushed onto the stage. The audience screamed, clapped, and cried along with him. In that moment, a Filipino kid who had never left his country before stepping onto that plane became a symbol of pride, resilience, and hope. Clips of the performance spread across social media within minutes. In the United States, viewers praised the courage it took to sing a national anthem on such a massive platform. In the Philippines, people gathered around televisions and phones, crying as they watched one of their own shine. But perhaps the most powerful impact was what happened backstage. Simon reportedly asked to meet the boy privately. He told him that his voice carried truth, and truth was the rarest talent of all. He encouraged him to keep singing, not to chase fame, but to tell stories that mattered. For the boy, those words were as valuable as the golden buzzer itself. Weeks later, interviews revealed that donations poured into the boy's hometown, helping families rebuild after the storm. Schools played the clip during assemblies. Children across the Philippines sang Lupang Hinirang with renewed pride. In the United States, viewers said the performance reminded them of their own roots, their own families, and the power of music to bridge cultures. What started as a risky song choice became one of the most unforgettable moments in America's Got Talent history. Not because of fireworks or vocal acrobatics, but because a child stood on a foreign stage and sang from his heart. And that is why this performance will never be forgotten. If this story moved you even a little, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful moments like this, because the world is full of stories that deserve to be heard.